Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about transitioning from one position into a leadership position. So, it's easy to become a leader when you own your own company. Boom. Welcome, I'm the leader. But oftentimes, we will grow into a leadership position from working as an employee, working in one position, and we do such a great job that somebody says, hey, you know what? Why not make this person a leader? And I find that people sometimes struggle with this, right? Because what made us a great employee doesn't always make us a great leader, right? There's many times as an employee we have to, oh, look at me, baby, I'm doing such a good job, right? And so you have all of this attention and eyes and spotlight on you and how great of a job that you're doing, right? And then that success breeds more success and then sometimes into a leadership position. However, that spotlight and that skill set that made you great at that position doesn't necessarily equate to you being a great leader. And oftentimes there's different skill sets that are needed, right? And what we need to do many times as a leader is to get that glory, that spotlight off of us and onto other people, right? It's not just about getting other people to think more of us, like, look at me now that I'm this big leadership position, right? Like, it's not about that. It's about getting other people to think more about themselves, right? And that's a different set of skills. That's a different mindset. And sometimes a leader will struggle because they go from like, hey, all eyes were on me, right, to now all eyes are on somebody else. And so it's something to be aware of. As a team works for you, right, typically there's like 25% of what a teammate will give you is obligatory, right? Like, I need a job, so I'm just going to go ahead and work, right? It's the bare minimum that they need to do. Many times, hopefully you get an employee that gives you more than their bare minimum, but nonetheless gives you a certain amount of effort that they know that they need to give just to be able to keep their job, right? But they all have some sort of a reserve. We all do, except for maybe my wife. All have a reserve of what else is left in the throttle of how hard we can work, how hard we can go at something. You think of the time and effort you can put into cleaning your house. Well, then have an important guest coming over, a mother-in-law coming over, and all of a sudden things change, right? You've got another level of ability to clean. And so it's not dissimilar in a position. You set a deadline in a job, and all of a sudden you work at a different pace to be able to get more stuff done. So as a leader, it's our job to figure out what we need to do to get that next 75% from somebody. And a lot of that comes from the culture and the environment of what we set. Determining what incentivizes your team. And what incentivizes one teammate may not incentivize somebody else, right? There's a lot of overlap in terms of what people need. And it's the basic stuff, right? Like so much, I made a video, our last video I think was about relearning things, right? It's not about learning something new, it's about relearning. And, basic human nature of the idea that people want to feel valued. Right? That's not a new concept, right? But when I look at my life and I look at myself as a leader, do I take the action steps every day, every week, to make the people that are around me actually feel valued? And I'm a big one on personal and professional development. So much of what I teach, so much of what I do crosses over, right? Personal and professional. Do I make my spouse feel valued? Oftentimes the worst to the people that mean the most to us. Do I make my family feel valued? Do I make my teammates feel valued? What am I doing that's actually making them feel like they're recognized for the work that they do, that they matter, and what they do every day matters? I don't care what your position is. If you don't feel like it's making a difference in the world, that nobody cares that it happens, you start to lose incentive and motivation to actually see through that it gets done. Now, getting into what incentivizes your team, that takes time, and that takes a relationship. For example, being recognized is a human trait that I think is pretty universal to all. But how we want to be recognized may drastically be different. You may have one teammate that wants the glory, baby, that says like, hey, I want all eyes on me. Go to the whole team thread and tell everybody how awesome this is. You have another teammate who might be embarrassed by that and really just wants you to pull them aside and be like, hey, you know what? I saw what you did there. I just want to let you know I recognized it, I value it. You're awesome. Keep up the good work, right? Same idea, that they want to feel important, they want to feel valued and recognized, but how they want it displayed may be entirely different. And I think oftentimes as results-oriented leaders, I'll speak for myself, right? That sometimes I get so caught up with the results, like, I got you here and I want you to do this job. And so when you do the job, I just see it sometimes like, yeah, you did what you were supposed to do. You want a trophy, you want a red carpet. It's easy to just keep our mindset down. And part of that goes into who we are different as a leader, right? As a leader, we're giving into other people. We're shining the spotlights on other people, right? There's not a lot of people shining spotlights on us, right? There's not a lot of people reaching down to pick us up, right? And so we can forget how important that is to other people, or because we're not giving it into other people. Because you get this question as a business owner, right? Who's getting me my 75%? If everybody is showing up with 25% and you need some sort of external motivation to bring out the other 75%, who's gonna give in to me for that? Because you have to be who you need to be as a leader to your organization. They can't be picking your ass up, right? And so who do you go to? And, I think it was quoted one time like, hey, listen, if you need that motivation, like, you're in the wrong field. And yeah, I think there is some truth to that. You've got to be able to have some inherent characteristics of motivation and desire, in that you are the beacon of inspiration for others and not just sucking off of the rest of the world. But I think part of this goes into making sure that you have a good foundation of why do I want to be a leader to begin with? Cover that in one of the first videos that we did, like, servanthood leadership, and are you wanting to become a leader for the right reasons? And so I know that I get a lot of fulfillment and I get energized by seeing other people come into who they are and in their successes. So that energizes me, and so I feel like that's pretty helpful, because like, if I was looking to my own successes, you know what I mean, and having that take away from me, then that would not make me a very good leader, and I wouldn't be very well aligned to be a leader. So just starting from that right foundation, I think, is really important. But I mean, that's not it. Yes, I do think there's more people that are positive and are more inherently, more self-motivating and self-driving, but there are things that you can control. And so one of my big things is I want people to focus in on what you can control. There is so much of life that you cannot control. Right? We learned, anybody doesn't believe that, like, then 2020 happened, right? And I've learned this lesson many times in life. As much as I try to grab control over things, there's so much you don't have control over. But you can't just give up and say, well, what the hell, I guess I'm just going to be a tumbleweed in this world and not know where I'm going in life, right? Have a direction. Figure out what you can control and then control those things. So yes, there's the inherent qualities, but otherwise, you're influenced by your input and your associations. And those are two things that you do have control over. So you want to say, where am I getting my other 75% from and my whatever? You're influenced by your input and your associations. And those are two things that you can control. Shut off the TV. Maybe there's an app on your phone you need to delete and get rid of, right? Maybe you need to follow a different podcast. Maybe you need to listen to a different program on TV. Right? Maybe you need to change some of your associations. Maybe there's some people in your life that really need some pruning, right? We're all grown adults. It's tough as a kid. You grow up in an environment and you don't have a ton of control. Once you leave that nest, baby, you've now lost your excuses of, oh, woe is me, I'm just in. No, you have some control over who those associations are, right? So grab them, prune some people if you need to, right? And surround yourself with people that are going to help lift you up, that are going to elevate you, that are going to inspire you. And I'm actually a giver. I'm not one that's just saying go out and take from the world, right? The widow and the oil, right? That story from the Bible, the widow with the oil, and she had nothing but just a little oil in a jar, right? And then the story goes, go grab all the jars and then start to pour out. And as she started to pour out what she had, she got more of what she had and more of what she needed, right? And I think that's a great story. You could get the Zig Ziglar quote that, help enough people get what they want and you'll get what you want. There's so many different examples in this world of when you give out, when you pour out into other people, surrounding yourself with the right people, you will find yourself where you want to be. So surround yourself with those people, right? It's our job as a leader to drive results, to inspire, to influence other people, to grow other people into their fullest potential, right? Into them accomplishing things that even they didn't think that they were capable of. And while the life of a leader can be lonely, I've said this 100 times, right? Control your controllables. Be mindful of who you have around you and what you let into your life. And so hopefully that helps somebody out in their journey today. As always, I'm Zach Betters, wishing you a great day and an even better tomorrow. Thanks, y'all.